Crime time.
With my bestie.
I'm Jess Vandertuck, and this is Anna Riches.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 2 of the officially named Crime Time with My Bestie. We have social media now. It's official. We can't go back.
We've decided it now.
Yeah, there was 3 names floating around. It's definitely official now. Crime Time with My Bestie, because you're my bestie.
And you're my bestie. But yeah, for anyone that hasn't seen, we have officially released our first video on social media of how I got Jess to say yes to doing a podcast with me.
Which, to be fair, we're hoping that if you're here and you're listening to this second episode, either you're crazy and you're our friend, or you love the reel on Instagram or TikTok, wherever you've seen it, and you've come to listen to us. But it's likely that this episode is in the past, and that reel is in a long distant memory, and there'll be more reels after that you'll have watched and think that we're absolutely amazing.
We're so funny.
We're hilarious. Why else would we start a podcast?
To be fair, my mum did say that we were funny.
That's encouraging. I really want it to be worth it. Again, this isn't a visual medium, and I will likely post a photo either before or after this episode comes out to the lengths that I've gone to get this episode recorded. So my house is currently a decorator's nightmare, including a partially finished office that I was like so excited. I was like, yay, I'm going to record the podcast in the office today because it's like basically finished, forgetting that it's full of nothing but a desk and a chair and chest of drawers that are empty, and so it's so echoey.
And you don't have like, you've got wooden floors and you've got no curtains.
No curtains, no soft furnishings. I am the only soft furnishing in here. And basically we happen to have these 2 foam mattresses that are going to be used as like a mini bed type sofa situation in the office eventually, which will be the new soft furnishing other than me. And I've had to fashion a basically like an audio box. Like, is there official term for it? In like an audio like dampening room? I don't know.
I think so. It's like when people make up their like podcast or recording studio in a cupboard, they always put those kind of sound dampening things on.
Yeah, it does look like it as well, because of the internal shape of it. It's quite uncanny. But it was also, I don't know whether you've ever been in like an audio recording room where the sound is so deadened that you can hear your own thoughts and like your ears are ringing and your heart is like pumping loudly.
No, thank you. I don't want to hear any of my own thoughts. Why do you think I listen to podcasts?
We're basically just this whole episode's going to be traumatic because both the story is traumatic and I can hear my blood.
Excellent. Why wouldn't you want those things?
This is the best day. So how's your week been?
It's been good. I got a move on an aerial hoop that I have been working on for 2 years. So the whole time I've been going, we do this thing at the beginning. It's a conditioning move, but you are holding onto the top of the hoop and you kind of like dropped down and you have to like swing your legs and your arms and come back into the hoop. So you're sitting in the hoop. I have been trying to do that for 2 years and I got it this week.
Proud of you.
Thank you. I literally screamed. Like, maybe I'll post a video of that as well.
Maybe.
But I literally screamed.
If you don't think I'll be using our socials to promote Derby as well, then yeah.
I was a little bit offended that the Apex Predator roller derby TikTok didn't repost our reel.
Do you know what's actually terrible? I am one of the people responsible for the TikTok, so I could have done.
I know.
You know, I only get 20 minutes of TikTok a day because I have no self-control. So I used all my TikTok that day with cat reels.
You might have to up it to, I don't know, like 30 minutes or 35 minutes, and you have an allocated social media presence for the podcast time.
That's true. It's probably going to be necessary because I'm hoping that everybody will be blessed by all of our incredible TikToks that are to come, and I'm leaving that out there to promote the hype train.
I hope so, because I already have some planned that I'm thinking would be funny. Not all the time. We're not putting a lot on. I mean, over the months. Giving
everybody a backstory into what's going on. Like, I'm sure people have an extent of what goes into the podcast, like my weird, like, freaking noise bubble thing that I've created right now out of foam mattresses. But the reel that was posted on Sunday, well, when it was posted Wednesday, it was posted Wednesday of this week, but however long ago it was in comparison to when this episode gets released. It took 2 different weekends to film. There is another reel that is coming that took like 4 hours to make. Was it 4 hours? It felt like 4 hours.
Which one's that?
I don't want to like no, because it was the dance
The
one.
dance one. Yeah, that'll be out by the time this is out. That one didn't. No, that took like an hour. So it was this reel that was the bad one only because of that bath shot. Because that one took so long. But the dance one, I think, took us about an hour. It just happened to be that it was at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's fair. And to be fair, the me upside down in the bath felt like an hour, even though when we cut down the clip, it was like 2.3 seconds. But this was only because Anna didn't press record. I'm not gonna lie. There was a scream. Basically, yeah, Anna didn't press record and I was upside down for what felt like an eternity. And when she told me she didn't hit record, I screamed. Because the thing of it is, there's another one where Anna is upside down with her legs in the air, but you were kind of like half balanced on the bar. I was fully upside down, like balancing on my neck, and there was someone somewhere that would not have been pleased with the chiropractic magicianry that I was completing.
I did try and do the same thing, but I couldn't balance like that. So I had to stay on the bath. Ooh, can you hear my neighbours? So coming back to the recording, you could hear my neighbours. So we've cut a section out. So if it feels a bit because we can't remember what we were talking about.
No, it's been a good like 3 or 4 minutes of
Maybe more.
Possibly more. I feel like there was some jokes about reels and being upside down in a bath, which is just standard conversation, I feel like.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Exactly.
How was your week?
Oh, stressful. Not only did we have to remove the recording because I am a crazy bitch.
Remove the recording.
Remove the recording. So sorry. Move the recording. So we normally have planned in that we record on Tuesday nights, and basically I had to move it because I had other plans, and I know, devastated that I'm prioritizing something else.
Rude. I'm the most important thing in your life, so
Obviously. But yeah, so we had to move the recording, and then I basically decided that I could 1000% redecorate 2 whole rooms in my house in 2 days, which has not panned out.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Who thought you couldn't paint an entire stairway and hallway in a day? It turns out you can't. All the paint's like cracked. All in preparation for hopefully our 2 new cat babies, which we're collecting tomorrow. So yeah, it's been quite a lot. But on Wednesday, I did go into the office and go to a crafting social where I crocheted a stingray plushie. Like, is it Ami Meguri? Is that how you say it?
No idea. I just call it crocheting a plushie. I mean, I've crocheted for so long that we didn't have those names for those things, or at least I didn't when I started. It was just like, oh, you just make this thing.
I'm assuming it's the style that it's in. So yeah, it was good fun. I really enjoyed it.
I'm proud of you. It looked good.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. It needs a tail. It was very, very enjoyable. So yeah, that was my week, and I'm hoping that my weekend will just be getting loads of cat love. That's my plan.
Petting a cat. I want to pet a cat. I want a cat.
I mean, you're moving. You could get a cat.
I could maybe get a cat then.
You could maybe get a cat. All that money that you're saving owning a home and not renting, you could
not paying my landlord.
invest in a fluffy friend.
Maybe. Let's not ponder this too long, because otherwise I will buy a cat on this podcast and you have a story to tell me.
I do have a story to tell you. So I have recently listened back to last week's episode, so I know that my teasers for you was, I think it was murder, stabbings,
escape plots.
Ditches and escape plots. Yes, that's correct. So today the story I'm going to tell you is the story of the UK serial killer, Joanna Dennehy.
I don't think I've heard of that one before.
Do you know what? I haven't either, and I'm actually super disappointed in myself because the more I've gone through and I've done all the research and I've looked at all the information, it's absolutely insane. And she is actually, I think I saw a quote which was, there's only 15% of the UK serial killers are female, and she is considered one of the top 3. So, you know, when you're like, how do I not know about her?
I think there are so many, though, that you don't hear about all of them.
No.
I don't hear about more recent ones. It's only if I hear about it on a podcast or if someone tells me about it. And even then, I've got the memory of a goldfish. So I will forget about it immediately. Like, my sister will be like, why don't you know about this one?
So this is also like 2013, 2014 time period. So I was in the midst of like uni. Things were just busy and dissertations and stuff was taking over my life. So I feel like I'll give myself a little bit of grace and that's why I didn't know about it news-wise. However, there is some serious amount of information online. So it made researching very, very easy. There was also a hell of a lot of documentaries on it. I feel like because it's a UK-based case, we love, Channel 5 has like a serious amount serious amount of documentaries.
That's where I've got my documentary from, Channel 5.
So I will give my list of sources in a minute, but in the sense of if you wanted to go away from this, you loved my, podcast so much, or my podcast. Oh, it is. Yeah, it is my podcast. What am I saying?
It's our
It's
podcast,
our
but yeah.
podcast. But it was in my brain that was like, no, this is not my podcast. It obviously is. If you wanted to go away and like watch something on the topic, there is two that I found that looked quite interesting. So there was The Murderer and Me, Joanna Dennehy, the serial killer. So those are other things you can watch on the topic. I think one of them was Apple TV and one of them was, it might have been Amazon Prime.
Okay, I've got both of them. I only have Apple TV for another month because I had the 6-month trial and I was like, I'm not sticking with this. I'm not paying for it. And then started watching things 2 days before the trial ended. And I was like, I'll
Oh,
pay for a month then.
now you got to catch up. So I didn't watch it. And the documentary that I was so excited to find on Channel 5, which was called Joanna Dennehy Killing for Kicks, basically wouldn't let me watch it. I was really upset. I was like, wow,
Why?
rude. I don't know. It said, oh, log in to watch it. And then when I went to watch it, it was like, oh, watch this live. And when you clicked live, it did nothing. So very, very sad. However,
Weird.
I do have multiple online sources that have made this very, very interesting to find out about. So my sources for this include The Guardian, Judiciary UK, Wikipedia, Murderpedia, The Daily Mail, BBC, and Bristol blogs. I kid you not, Judiciary UK is the official content for judgment updates on sentencing for the UK. So I will share the link after this
Yeah.
because it is the actual court documents from the court proceedings as written by the judge on their verdict on the case. And they go into detail. Like, it is incredible.
Think if I do the case that I'm going to do next week or in the next episode, it's a UK one as well. So yeah, send me that link.
Yeah, I don't know if every case gets uploaded to there. This was a very high profile case. So I imagine it went through a very high court proceeding and therefore probably would have been uploaded. I think I'm probably misguided by what we see on American TV and how they present cases in court, but in the sense of the judge's judgment, he lists every single bit of evidence that they've been given and how that's made his sort of ruling apparent and why
Oh,
he's deemed it necessary. So yeah, very, very interesting.
that's interesting. So it wasn't with jurors.
It was with jurors, but it's the judges ruling on their spoiler ruling on more than one. They're ruling on the sentence basically. So
Okay.
all the evidence has been given, then this is him being like, this is how much time you're going to go to prison for, which
Yeah,
will
I
all
see.
come later. Hey guys, Jess here. So when we originally recorded this, I didn't add any trigger warnings, so just wanted to make sure I added those in for our listeners that like a little bit of a heads up. So trigger warnings for this episode include graphic details in relation to murder, stabbing, as well as mentions of rape and bodily harm. So as I said, today we are going to be talking about the notorious UK killer, Joanna Dennehy, also sometimes referred to as the Peterborough Ditch Killer. There we go, there's ditches. I just clicked and I'm like, what? I think I make that joke like 3 times because I'm like, this is the word ditch. Dennehy in my sources was referred to as one of the world's most dangerous prisoners, and The Guardian referred to her as cruel, calculating, selfish, and a manipulative serial killer. She was born in 1982 in St Albans in Hertfordshire. She had a comfortable and fairly normal childhood. She has claimed that she was abused as a child, but there is no evidence to support this. Yeah.
I mean, she might have been, but it feels like you're blaming it on that.
I mean, there's more things that she does later that makes you think, no, that's probably like, again, no evidence. Nothing was obviously brought against the parents. There was too much that was kind of against this, as well as she was not the best human. So
Yeah, I'm not judging in general. I'm judging her specifically based on that sentence that you just said where it was she said she was abused, but there is no evidence and nobody corroborates this.
Yep.
And then she goes on to be a garbage human.
Yep. So her parents hoped she would go on to study law at university, as she was quite successful in school, and they paid extra tuition and things for her to get higher education, hoping that she would obviously become successful in her career in the future. However, it was in her teens that things started to change when at 15 she ran away with I'm going to say Trina. It's spelled Treanor. I'm hoping it's Trina.
Go with it. I did an Italian case last episode. No idea.
Hoping for the best. It was in her teens that things started to change when at 15 she ran away with John Trina, a man 5 years older than her, which, I mean, also a little bit garbage human.
How old was she?
So she's 15 and he would be 20. Not legal.
No, not in the slightest.
She ran away with John Trina, a man that was 5 years older than her. She was eventually found in a wasteland by her home, by her family, so they had been looking for her at this time. It doesn't specifically say how long after she ran away that they found her, but by that point, she'd started taking drugs and drinking. She was home for one more year before so now 16, when she left home with John Trina permanently. She and John had 2 children and became estranged from her parents.
You say she had 2 children. Did she have 2 children quite quickly after leaving? So in her teens still?
Yeah, I think it was still in her teens. Deliberately keeping her children from her parents, so the grandparents, and I referred to it as basically behind a paywall, as she wouldn't let them see them without paying her. Which I don't quite understand how that works.
I suppose it will be like take them to soft play and I'll let you see them. Buy us some food and I'll let you see them. Give me 50 quid so I can buy them treats and you can see them. It will probably be something like that. Like it comes with something that they have to pay.
So obviously at this point, there's no family involvement. She's alone with Trina and their 2 children. Her relationship with Trina becomes tumultuous and she's often caught cheating on him and disappearing for days or weeks at a time. At the time of the murders, it is noted that she is also not actively involved in her children's lives. There was some information about the children's dad, which would be Trina, and the children.
Oh, so he was looking after the children at that point in time.
Yes. She wasn't referred to as an alcoholic, but drinking did become a major problem in her life. When she was working, she would sometimes be paid in alcohol rather than money, and when drinking would often have violent outbursts and attack Trina. She began carrying a dagger and told friends that she wanted to kill someone, which not concerning at all. Like, do you know what I mean?
Fine.
No. And also, as a point, I think the jobs that he referred to at the time was a farmhand or a labourer, because I feel there would be serious issues if an official business tried to pay you with alcohol rather than money.
I mean, I feel like it felt like a cash in hand job
Mm.
to me when you said that. I'm sure in that line of work, you probably can carry some kind of knife and it makes sense. To be fair, I know people that carry legal knives, but they don't go around saying they just like knives.
Mm.
It's not because they want to hurt someone. It's not, and they're not going around being like, I'm going to kill someone. I don't condone that either, just so you know.
The more that you find out about the people that she associates with, the fact that these people didn't flag this as a problem is in itself a problem. She did spend a period of time in hospital in 2012 where she was diagnosed with psychopathic antisocial personality disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder. She was frequently in trouble with the law enforcement and had a criminal record. She enjoyed sadomasochism, enjoying causing pain to others, and this was also in a sexual capacity, which did not go down well with her partners. So things that it suggested that she enjoyed was harming herself during sex, attempting to harm her partners, and basically all round just bad things.
Yeah, that's not great, especially I'm assuming that she's not telling her partners about this before she does it. I'm assuming
guessing
she's
not.
kind of springing it on them, which is not okay. Like, we're not going to yuck someone's yum in this. If that's your thing and you're all consenting to it, great. But you have to consent to it. You have to have communication. You have to make it known, not just do it on a whim.
It did make me laugh a little bit, though, because one of the articles that referred to her as enjoying sadomasochism said that it was made obvious by her wearing handcuffs on her jeans, which, to be fair, the emo phase of our teenage years, was people wearing handcuffs and chains and things with studded belts on them. There was people wearing entire cars worth of chains.
I don't think that's that random. Like you said, being an emo kid, being who we were as teenagers, that's not that out there. Like, I
No.
still would probably pause for a second, but yeah, the chains, everything like that. Yeah, I don't know.
It was just such a random thing. They were like, it was so obvious that she enjoyed this from the fact that she wore handcuffs. And I was like, okay, if you say so.
I mean, maybe our friends are a bit freaky.
Despite all this, apparently her murder spree was a complete surprise, and she was not given any reasoning for the murders.
Shock horror.
I've told people I want to kill someone, but it's a complete surprise that I murdered somebody.
Oh god. It's not even just you told someone you want to kill them. You're violent on a regular basis. You have multiple issues around violence. What? She hurt someone?
I'm so shocked.
Oh god. If people paid a little bit more attention, we might not be here.
You would think. So the murders themselves took place between March 19th and wait.
What are your notes?
They are proper notes. I'm just finding it hard to read it.
It's so hard.
The murders themselves took place between March 19th to the 29th in 2013, so over a period of 10 days. The bodies were found with multiple stab wounds, including wounds to the heart, and had been dumped in Peterborough ditches, hence the Peterborough Ditch Killer. Da-da-da-da!
Connections.
I'm not gonna lie, the little addition of da-da-da-da makes me feel a little bit ill. The fact that I've oh look, it's the Peterborough Ditch Killer, and I've made a joke about it, but I suppose that's the podcast.
We are a comedy in loose terms podcast.
Yeah, we've gone hard and heavy for the first 2 episodes for a comedy podcast, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean it's a true crime podcast as well, so it's not gonna be fun and games all of the time.
The 3 victims were Kevin Lee, 48, Lukasz Slabowska-Wiz. I'm gonna have to Google this 1 second.
No, you do it.
Give me a minute before I completely balls up this person's name.
If you keep any of this in, just so all the listeners know, it's actually really hard to do a podcast. It's really hard to read your own notes.
I also did write these notes about an hour and a half ago, I'm not gonna lie.
You're gonna smash it this time.
The 3 victims were Kevin Lee, 48, Lukasz Salbolchevsky, 31, and John Chapman, 56. The first victim, Lukasz Salbolchevsky, he had messaged a friend in the past saying that she was his girlfriend. She lured him to where she was living and proceeded to stab him, and whilst debating what to do with his body, she put it in a wheelie bin.
Oh.
Which is just, why wouldn't you?
No, that's not nice.
She apparently also showed this to an 11-year-old girl. It didn't quite explain the context of how she knew this 11-year-old girl or what this 11-year-old girl was doing in her presence, because she did live in a bedsit, so it could be that the girl lived in the bedsit as well, but apparently nothing came of this.
Showed this 11-year-old girl in person or
picture?
No. In person? Wow.
In person.
Okay. All right. Oh, God. Yeah, okay.
Opened the wheelie bin and showed her. She proceeded to attempt to purchase a vehicle just to dispose of Slabovchevsky's body, getting help from a friend, Gary Stretch, who proceeded to assist her in the attempt to hide the body. She found a remote location and stated no one will find him here. She apparently knew this location, and that's where the Peterborough ditch that the body was taken to and dumped, which is just, lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great that she said that how does she know that nobody will find him there? And also, people did find him, so she was wrong.
According to the sources, it was that she knew this location. She knew it was quite remote, so in her mind, nobody goes out there, so why would they find them?
Okay. I don't like her.
Like you said, somebody did find it, so her second victim was John Chapman. She murdered him a week later on Good Friday. He was a man that had lived in the same bedsit as her, that she had also befriended. He referred to her as that crazy woman, and she told a friend that she had killed him because he had entered the bathroom when she was in the bath and refused to leave. The same friend, who also lived in the bedsit, had also been somebody that she had told about the first murder, and also said nothing.
Oh, good.
So that friend is Georgina Page. She was involved in the court proceedings and had told to the courts that she was under duress and was in fear that Dennehy would kill her if she ever said anything.
To be fair, if she's told her about 2 different murders that she's done, I think I would be wary. I wouldn't I wouldn't go out of my way to let her know that I was snitching on her.
No. So obviously she had told Regina Page that the reason for the killing was the situation with the bathroom. However, it was noted that in the past, Dennehy had mentioned that she wanted to get Chapman out of the house by any means. So there was not much information as to why. There was possibilities that the bedsit was being sold and they were all having to move, but that was mentioned that that was a reason.
So there's lots of like reasons that are not really reasons.
Yeah. And it leads to giving full premeditation for the murder, as she has obviously previously said that she wanted to get rid of him by any means, which, to be fair, with Lukas Salbowczewski, it didn't seem like that was premeditated in the sense that she did lure him there, so in that fact it was premeditated. But apart from her befriending him and him saying that she was his girlfriend, there was no previous comment that she was wanting to kill him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but she has lured him there. So at least half an hour before the murder, she decided she was going to murder him because she had the knife with her. She had this with her. She lured him to a place that she could do this. It's not like it's a spur of the moment decision. She still made the decision before doing it.
Yeah. So Chapman, she stabbed once in the neck and 5 times in the chest with a pocket knife. I believe the stab to the neck hit his carotid artery and obviously killed him.
Oof.
I'm pretty sure as well, at least one of the victims, the stabbing was so specifically harsh to the chest that she actually went through his breastplate, which is
Oh my
like
God.
hard.
Yeah, that's difficult to do. With I assume we'll get to it, but I assume it's with a pocket knife of some kind.
They're all different knives throughout the case, but
Oh, okay.
the death of or the murder of Chapman was specifically a pocket knife.
Okay, I see.
She once again enlisted the help of her friend Gary Stretch, and this time also another man from the same bedsit, Leslie Layton.
Why is everyone joining in on this? We're like 5 people deep now.
Exactly. This is what I was saying about her friends, and her friends were saying, "Oh, we're so surprised that she, murdered somebody." I'm like, your friends are not quality people, considering that this is the situations that they are getting. Well, not the situations they're getting themselves in. It's not their fault that the random lady in their bedsit has decided to murder somebody. But at the same time, you could just leave.
You also don't go back again. I can understand the first one if you feel like you're under duress of some kind. I'm not agreeing with it. If you ask me to move a body for you, I'm not doing it. But unless they've really wronged you. No, I'm joking. For legal reasons, that is not real.
Police knocking at the door, like bang, 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 bang.
If you asked me to do something, I would say no. If I was scared that you were going to do something to me, you'd maybe do it once, but then you would make a quick exit and abort yourself from the situation. I know it might not be easy when you're living in a bedsit, but at least like duck out of the way when she's coming down the hall.
Yeah.
Something. You're making a cup of tea when she comes into the living room. I don't know. It's something that gets you out of that room.
She's often also referred to in some places as a seductress. So Gary Stretch saying that she's lured him in with her feminine ways.
Feminine ways.
Yes, because all of us have the power to persuade people to help us hide dead bodies, obviously. But just keeping it under wraps, it's the next level up from witchcraft. The women, in Salem all those years ago.
They were just hiding dead bodies and they were just using their feminine ways.
So obviously, as I said, she enlisted the help of both Gary Stretch and now this new person, Leslie Layton. Leslie Layton was shown to the body of Chapman inside the bedsit and supposedly he took a photo of the body rather than attempt any form of justice. His personal choice on his phone.
No, sorry, I just want to go back to the photo. He, as a keepsake, or nobody's going to believe me if I say that she's done this, I need to take a photo to prove that she's done this.
See, it's hard because in the courts he said that he knew nothing of the photo. The police never brought up the photo.
Sorry.
But at the same time, there was possibility that the photo was deleted from his phone. It was all very much against Leslie Layton and his case of the fact that he definitely didn't know what was going on. At this time, they left Chapman dead in the bedsit and went off and carried on with their day, including Leslie Layton, who went off and did some bunch of stuff in town, not for the fact that he'd basically seen a dead body this morning and carried on living his life completely normally for the rest of the day.
So he's definitely seen the dead body. That is without question.
100%.
But whether he took the photo is in question.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I want to make a note that basically, even though the second and third victim were killed in that order, the disposal of the bodies was in a different order. So Leighton also helped carry the body downstairs of Chapman with Stretch, who was also seen on CCTV loading the body into the boot of a car, and Chapman was also taken to the same ditch where they had dumped the body of Sabovchevsky. So that's the second victim. Leighton was said to have denied any knowledge that there was already a first body in the ditch when they dumped the body of the third victim, because at that point he remained in the car. It wasn't until he helped with the dumping of the second victim that he was like, oh my god, there's loads of bodies in this ditch. What am I doing? Because obviously the first body that you were helping dispose of was completely fine because you were just helping out a friend.
I'm having a moment.
Yeah, it's not great.
Sure, carry on.
I feel like even to trying to get away with the extent of, oh, I'm sorry, I did help this person dispose of a body, but I definitely wouldn't have helped them dispose of the second body if I'd known that there was already another body in the ditch, because I just thought it was the one body. Or the two bodies, technically.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's getting very confusing. Who knows what, but because apparently everyone knows everything, but
Everyone knows
also
everything.
doesn't know anything.
Yeah. And Dennehy is also repeating this to multiple people, bragging about it, telling this Georgina Page, the friend of hers, that she's killing all these people. And it's just going on as if everything is, nothing is happening. Her next murder victim was her landlord, Kevin Lee, who she had also befriended. He was infatuated with Dennehy, having, been persuaded by her feminine ways, having been fed multiple lies about her past, including having spent years in prison for killing her father after being abused by him, which is a lie.
She is a compulsive liar.
I think in sources it's often referred to her as being a pathological liar. I'm pretty sure Kevin Lee was also married. It's not great on Kevin Lee's part, but in the sense of the whole relationship was not good to begin with. So for him, he's been brought in by all this, she's the bad girl that's apparently killed someone and been in prison for it. He doesn't know that she's killed these other two people, because I don't know if I would be persuaded to go and see somebody if I'd known that they just murdered two people.
But he's okay with the murdering of the one person, but the two people, too far.
Despite this, so him knowing that obviously she's told him that she's been in prison for killing her father, he employed her and he gave her the accommodation. So the bedsit that she's currently living in is actually Kevin Lee's. He owns like multiple properties. And she lured Lee to actually a separate address, so not to the bedsit, probably because that one's full of dead bodies at this point.
Yeah, basically.
Stating that she was going to dress him up and rape him on the afternoon of Good Friday, the same day as Chapman's murder.
Sorry, she said this directly to him and he went to this other location, or was he like scared?
I feel like it's a don't yuck your yum kind of situation.
Oh, okay.
That's what it says, that she lured him to this place saying that that's what she was going to do to him. Maybe it was a fantasy of his and he's on board with it. Unfortunately for Kevin Lee, she stabbed him 5 times in the chest. But unlike Chapman, who the coroner believed maybe he did have a really high alcohol level, I think it was 4 times the legal limit, so they believe he was probably unconscious. Lee had defensive wounds, showing he had tried to defend himself.
Shit.
And Dennehy spent Good Friday going backwards and forwards between the two locations, obviously the bedsit where Chapman was still, and the second location where Kevin Lee was at, cleaning it up to get rid of any evidence of the murders. Again, Stretch is fully complicit in this, and he is 100% helping with all of this, and yet still was like, no, I have no idea what's going on. I only helped because she told me to.
Yeah, so she killed them both on the same day, but within, I'm guessing, a couple of hours of each other. And Stretch has come to help her clean up both of them.
Yes, so I believe the murder of Chapman was sometime in the morning, and then Lee was in the afternoon, and then they proceeded to dispose of the bodies in the evening. So same day.
You think you have a busy schedule.
I know. Think of all the murder that I could be cleaning up instead of like all of the dust and grime from my decorating. Obviously, my problems are so insignificant. So obviously, that then goes back to the fact that they disposed of Lee's body first. So Leighton was the driver of the car for Lee. They took Lee's body to the Peterborough Ditch. Lee had been dressed up, so the point that Dennehy made of, I'm going to dress you up and rape you, he had been dressed up and was wearing a sequined dress that he was dumped him. He was found to be wearing the dress at the time, but they had left the body in such a way that his bare bum was in the air. And the judge said that this showed her callousness for the fact that she was kind of humiliation and degrading this person by putting him in such a position that he would be found in this manner. So
yeah, it's not very nice.
no, and obviously just adds to the, amazingness of her character that is already proving to be so great. She's such a wholesome human.
I love her. She seems great. Let's join that bed sit.
So this was in one car that Leighton then proceeded to burn. So he's actually found on CCTV buying the petrol for the first car that they dumped Lee's body in and burning it somewhere very, very far away. So obviously that it couldn't be linked to the two crimes. And then they go back to the bedsit to collect Chapman's body, where Stretch is seen on CCTV loading Chapman's body into that car and then disposing of it.
They're just on all of the CCTV.
They're not doing the best job, to be fair.
No, they're doing it. I mean, great. Be on CCTV if you are going to murder someone because we need to catch you. But if you're planning to get away with this, maybe don't walk into every CCTV camera that you see in a 20-mile radius, because that's what it sounds like they're doing.
To be fair, though, I don't know what the statistic is off the top of my head, but aren't we considered to be, like the UK as a whole, to be one of the most watched nations? Because we have so much CCTV, which always makes me crazy when I think about the cases that haven't been caught on CCTV, because we're always being told that we have so much that you basically can't move without being caught on a camera.
Yeah, which is good. But I wouldn't then try and commit a murder or commit multiple murders and try and get away with it because I know I'd be on CCTV.
So Leighton and Stretch, they both claimed a defence of duress at trial, claiming that obviously that they were threatened by Dennehy if they did not comply with her and help her and stuff, which was obviously denied in court due to their massive involvement in the crimes.
Yeah, I wonder why.
With also the addition of, if you didn't think any worse of these people already, so the last two murders happened on the Good Friday. I believe it was either Chapman or Lee, because they both killed on the same day, started a massive search for a missing person, so the investigation kicked off really quickly. And because Chapman lived in the bedsit, the police came to the bedsit and questioned the residents, and Leighton actually denied any knowledge of Chapman's whereabouts between the period of the murders and Dennehy's arrest. So he was questioned, I think, on the Sunday, so 2 days later, and he said that he hadn't seen Chapman since Wednesday. So
it's just so dumb.
I didn't know. I did nothing. What did you think was going to happen? I feel like it's never good to admit that you've committed a crime, but if he had then admitted at that point, yes, she did this to me, it was under duress, maybe the police and the judge would have been a little bit more lenient, but you've flat out lied to the police and said, I have no idea what's going on.
I don't know. I don't know what to say to that.
See, this is the level of, oh my God, that I was at last week when the cannibalism was coming out.
Okay, fair. I see you now.
The first case that I had started researching was nothing compared to this. I needed to bring the ante. We might need a calmer one next week, just because otherwise, if we keep going at this pace, I think I'm going to have an anxiety attack.
I can't tell you that it's karma.
Oh no.
I don't think it's not karma.
Cool. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the teaser at the end of the episode.
It's not quite as bad as cannibalism.
Okay, let's finish this. We got this. So, Stretch and Dennehy proceeded to go on the run, obviously, committing further crimes on their way, including a burglary. They were headed to Hereford, as this was somewhere that Stretch was familiar with and felt he could be better in the surroundings knowing where he was. In this period, Dennehy stated that she wanted to have her fun, meaning that she wanted to kill again. Stretch helped locate a dog walker who she proceeded to stab twice from behind. It was obvious the intention was to kill him, but the dog walker, Robin Bereza, actually survived.
He was just a random guy.
Literally just driving down the road, Gary Stretch basically spotted somebody that he thought could be an easy sort of target. He pulled up next to him, let Dennehy get out of the car, and then she stabbed him, and then he started driving slowly away and told her to get in and drove away.
What? I feel like that's more maddening than the previous murders. I'm not saying that they were great, but the fact that this is not someone she knows, this is literally just, I have this inkling to do this thing. Yeah, let's pick anyone off of the street.
It's full-blown bloodlust now. I feel like she's got this like taste for it, I suppose. She's got this bloodlust and she's like, oh my god, I just have to kill now. And like you said, it was completely random. There was nothing about it. And I'm still not finished. So she then said she wanted to kill somebody else. And Gary Stretch located another man 9 minutes later. And it's actually explicit in the fact that he was familiar with the area. So he drove somewhere specifically because it was where his grandmother used to live, I believe. And he knew that that route was common for dog walkers and therefore drove to like this nice little cul-de-sac and basically drove up to another dog walker who was John Rogers, who she stabbed 30 times.
Sorry, what?
Also from behind. And again, despite the extent of his injuries, which were both for the first dog walker, Robin Bereza, and John Rogers, they were near fatal, but John Rogers actually survived 30 stab wounds.
Jesus, that's a lot. I'm trying to imagine 30 stab wounds. Like, I get a paper cut and I think it hurts like I'm dying.
Yeah.
And this is a lot. I don't know why I find this worse.
There was, whether it was a TV show or whether it was an actual case, but there was a court case where somebody had a jar and beads. The case itself, the person had been stabbed 90 times or something, and the person, as part of their statement, proceeded to drop a bead one by one, counting to 90 to show how long that would take. And like, obviously 30 is a third of that, but in the sense of that's not going to be fast. 2 stab wounds is like stab stab. 30 times, you're basically at the point where everything is gone. You are not a person anymore. Murder has taken over your brain and there's no saving you.
Yeah, that is, like you said, total bloodlust. And also that's going to take quite a while because you're not going to do 1 stab wound a second. It's going to take a few seconds every single time if you keep it up at a pace even. That's a good few minutes of stabbing someone.
These 2 attacks, obviously because they weren't murders, because thankfully both of the men survived, were all also in complete daylight. So I believe Robin Bereza was attacked at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So in the fact that they're going to get caught, like there's no point. They've attempted to hide the bodies in the previous murders, but there is no way they can hide from this. The damage is done.
I suppose that's why they're doing it so quickly, why they've attacked one person and then 9 minutes later they're attacking someone else, because if you want to attack as many people as possible in this time frame before you're caught, you just have to keep going, which seems to be the mentality that she has.
So the police had actually begun investigating the murders after discovering the bodies on the 30th of March, and Dennehy was arrested on April 2nd, 2013, so 2 days later. So I think it was like 29th of March that it was said that Chapman was missing. It was all very, very quick. The murders happened, the police started investigating pretty soon after, and then she was arrested 2 days later. So it wasn't a very drawn-out case, or drawn-out investigation, sorry. Dennehy pled guilty to all 3 murders and 2 attempted murders. If she hadn't have pled guilty, I would be surprised because I know I mentioned earlier that she was going around telling loads of people that she'd killed a bunch of people. I believe in the journey with Stretch up to Hereford that they'd stayed with a friend and they were full-blown admitting to him that they'd killed a bunch of people. So there was enough witnesses to be like, yeah, she did this.
Yeah, 100%. And they've been caught on multiple CCTV cameras.
And it's not exactly like the 2 attempted murders weren't very obvious. I mean, even if she didn't get caught on the 3 murders, not only did she dump them in the same ditch, but also she killed or attempted to kill 2 people outside, very, very obviously. When sentenced, Stretch received a life sentence with a minimum of 19 years and later received 14 years, whereas Dennehy received life in prison with an additional order that she should never be released. She is one of 3 women to receive such a sentence, with the likes of Myra Hindley and Rosemary West, who I have heard of. So that's why I was so surprised that I hadn't heard this story, because I was like, damn, you have gone very much under my radar for too long.
Yeah, this is mad.
So that is obviously the extent of her case around the actual murders and attempted murders that she is responsible for. And I promised you an escape plot.
Yeah, oh, I forgot about that.
There's been so much that you've just forgotten it all. So, prison staff found an escape plot in her diary which involved killing or seriously injuring a prison officer, cutting off one of the officer's fingers and using the amputated finger to fool the biometric system in the prison. They also discovered a hidden prison officer uniform in the laundry room, and guards discovered a drawing of the jail's layout in Dennehy's diary. But she was like, oh, it's just a joke, like they're just doodles. I'm like,
I don't have a plan at all. Why would I do this?
I'm not planning to kill anybody else, I promise. this.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're 3 murders, 2 attempted murders down. Why not just chuck on a prison guard as well? Why not?
Exactly. So this is after her arrest, so she's kind of being held at this point, so before the court proceedings. So because of the plot, Dennehy was placed in solitary confinement from September 23, before the proceedings, to September 2015, after the proceedings. So she was kept in solitary confinement for 2 years.
Wow.
Dennehy filed high court damage claims that the 2 years in solitary confinement was damaging and against her human rights. The High Court of Justice rejected Dennehy's claims that her human rights had been violated. Government lawyers argued isolation was necessary due to the nature of Dennehy's offences and the risk she could pose to the public if she were to escape.
Yeah. That's. If she escaped, that would be bad.
And the final bit is, whilst in prison, she tried to marry her cellmate, and both tried to commit suicide during a suicide pact. So now she's trying to take somebody else out, but in a different way.
Why did she need to marry that person to do a suicide pact?
I think they were trying to keep them apart. When her family found out that they were like, oh, I'm going to marry Joanna Dennehy, the family were like, oh no, she's corrupting our daughter. Please don't do this. And they're like, oh, we can't be together. Let's commit suicide.
But did this person like her? Like, were they
I'm assuming
actually
so.
in love? Was she using her feminine ways again?
Yes, using her feminine ways to get all of the people because, why not? She was moved to another prison in 2019 where she threatened to kill Rosemary West, the other serial killer.
Sure.
Supposedly the government denied this claim, but after she threatened to kill her, she was once again moved into solitary confinement.
She can't stay out of solitary confinement. She maybe needs to stop.
She was then moved to a high security prison, so before this has just been, your regular prison, where she started a relationship with a different killer called Emma Aitken, which, again, not heard the story. I feel like it's going to come up later, which I'm excited for. She also killed somebody. But she continues to be held in solitary confinement as she's just too dangerous to be allowed free, and she, to this day, continues to cause problems within the prison system.
Well, also, it feels like anytime she's in a cell with someone, she's going to get in a relationship with them. Like, I don't know what she is doing, but she does sound convincing at this point. Everyone that has been in contact with her will go with whatever story she's throwing them.
She's got to have some good voodoo magic or something, because that's a serious amount of people to persuade that you're not a bad person, or persuade them that you are a bad person and them to be like, yes, I'm going to go completely along with this and be perfectly happy with the fact that you just keep murdering people.
Yeah, your flavour of bad. Because
Yeah.
obviously a lot of these are people that are already murderers anyway, but so she must be their flavour of bad person.
Yep. And that is the story of Joanna Dennehy.
Wow, that was wild. The fact that she just wouldn't stop is the thing that's throwing me off. And the 2 attempted murders of random people. And they're not just light murders, it's not just 1 stab and she's done. 30 stab wounds is mad.
Reading the judiciary report, the judge went into a lot more detail, but it just, at that point, it was all the same. She liked to stab people in the chest. I'm not really sure on fitting with the serial killer nature. She's got a sort of a theme to her murders.
Yeah, an MO.
An MO, that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
Happy episode 2.
Thank you. Happy episode 2. No cannibalism in this one.
No, she did eat them, but it couldn't have got much. I know that cannibalism, the last episode, it just kept getting worse. This one still did keep getting worse, but in a different way.
It did. It's a new flavour of worse. Pardon the pun.
With all the cannibalism.
I wasn't even intending for that to be a pun.
My shoulders are so tight. I probably have cut all the pieces that say this, but recording a podcast is hard. Reading my notes is hard. I did it and I'm really proud of myself, but that was hard.
I'm really proud of you too. It is hard. Like with the other episode, we got a bit more into it in the second half, and I think you won't have to edit as much in the second half. But it's hard being the person telling the story, and it's also hard being the person listening to the story because you're trying not to interrupt too much, but interrupt enough for it to be interesting and to ask all the questions. And we're both not good at not interrupting.
We've just got so many things to say. we're definitely on the neurospicy train in the fact
Yes.
that we can't have a conversation that doesn't change tract of information at least 5 times
Yeah.
before you have to circle back and kind of go, what were we talking about again? So the fact that we're an hour and 14 minutes in and we have stayed pretty consistently on topic.
We might need to go and lie down after this because
I'm going to bed.
staying on track is very hard and it's taking a lot of my brain power.
I know. It's been a journey. I've enjoyed it. I need to get out of my little audio bubble now, so I would love for you to give me the teaser for your episode for next week.
So, for the next episode, if I still do this murder or murderer, I am planning to do one that involves crossbows. It's a UK murder, and it's a triple murder.
Oh, okay. Oh, we've just had a triple. Oh my god, my brain.
You've done it. The thing is, I did a triple murder last episode, you did a triple murder this episode, and then I potentially might be doing a triple murder next episode. So maybe this is a thing.
Maybe episode 4 can be less on the murder side and more on the crime. I did tell my sister, which despite the fact that I have repeatedly told her multiple times that she's asked that the podcast is about true crime, when she asked me what the podcast we're recording tonight was going to be about, I was like, oh, it's a murder. And she was like, again? How do you expect me to listen to this podcast? I was like, I don't. You can listen to it if you want to. You can listen to it if you want to. I don't mind. But that is the topic of the podcast. And hopefully the people that are listening are here for the good true crime vibes.
Yeah, most of them are gonna be about murders.
Yeah.
I would say probably 80% is gonna be a murder story.
Yeah, probably. Murder, cannibalism. Because you can eat
Yeah.
person when they're alive, in theory.
Yeah, true. I think there is a couple of cases of that. What does she expect you to be talking about? And does she have cases to bring to you that is more in line with what she's thinking?
No, I don't imagine that she has any thoughts other than, oh, I should probably listen to this because my sister made it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, on that note, I think we're done.
I think we are done. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to keep up to date with all of our latest antics and see the lovely posts about our episode next week, please follow us at Crime Time with My Bestie on TikTok, Instagram, and we haven't got a Facebook because we couldn't figure out how it works. It was too complicated.
We might by the time this is released, but we'll let you know next episode.
We'll keep you posted on the socials. Lovely little pun there. Love you lots, bestie. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye, besties. Bye.
Bye.